All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat, Shema, Kakwadash, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. Yeah, I just want to do this lesson dealing in regards to the war that's taking place between Ukraine and Russia. It's on the Wall Street Journal. You know, they got it where the ad is up, so basically blocking a portion of the article. I could still scroll down, but I really want to just hit the main point of the title, where it says Ukraine war is depleting U.S. ammunition stockpiles, sparking Pentagon concern. And it's a lot of articles actually pertaining to that. You know, America giving out so much aid to these weaker countries that it's starting to become weak itself. Hey, and that's the prophecy of as thou become weak as we. You know, the scriptures speak about. Let me get that. And brothers already know. In Isaiah the 14th chapter, you know. And before I really get into it, I just want to still kind of go into a little bit more in this article. It says, since Russia invaded Ukraine, the U.S. has sent lots of weaponry to the Eastern European nation. You know, same points. And this is on Business Insider. I'll just read the title. U.S. has given so much weaponry to Ukraine that defense officials say one of its munition stockpiles is getting uncomfortably low. But it says among those are M777 howitzer and the 15-millimeter ammunitions for the weapons. But this has depleted the U.S. own stockpiles of the munitions, the Wall Street Journal reported. Yeah, and that speaks volumes, because if you go into American, weaponry, you know, they have the, basically it's the top. They have the highest budget of all nations. If I'm not mistaken, it's majority of these different nations combined, you know, when it deals with the U.S. actual military budget. And for it to actually, you know, have a insufficient amount of ammunition and things of that nature, that speaks volumes on how much they've been distributing to these other countries, you know. And Ukraine is just one nation. You know, they still actually use these different, of course, ammunition overseas. They're using it, you know, of course, the military. They're stretching themselves too thin, just like Rome. You know, that was one thing that brought about the Roman demise, is they stretched their military too thin. You know, not only were they in too many conflicts and quarrels, but they were giving aid to, they had certain allies under their belt that was at war with other nations that they were supplying, that actually left them vulnerable. So the same sentiment is being echoed with America. History is repeating itself. You know, it says the U.S. has provided Ukraine with so much weaponry to fend off Russia's unprovoked invasion that Pentagon stockpiles for some munitions are uncomfortably low, defense officials told the Wall Street Journal. You know, which I just read, and I'm going to go to this part. An unnamed defense official told the Journal that the level of 155 millimeter ammunition in U.S. stockpiles hasn't reached critical levels, but it's uncomfortably low, and it's not at the level we would like to go into combat. Yeah, and that's beautiful. You know, this land of our captivity, as we know, Babylon the Great, you know, has lived and thrived off of his ammunition. You know, even dealing in the beginning, you know, the musket guns of them actually using on the Gadite nations, the Native Americans, of course, which is Gad, the Reubenites, the Seminole Indians. You know, I'm saying both, you know, for the, you know, individuals that are unfamiliar, and you Judites, you know, Jake, all right, you Negroes, man, you know, Benjamites, you West Indians, Haitians, Levites. You know, Esau has used a barrage of bullets to conquer lands. All right. You know, the old school functioning of the gun, you know, actually gave him the ability to take over the world. But that same weapon of destruction, he's no longer going to be able to lean on that. And that's why these different nations, the Most High is, you know, initially or essentially beefing them up, you know, showing that America is not, is losing its grandeur. You know, though the U.S. isn't engaged in any major conflicts at the moment. Yeah. And what happens when America is going to be really engaged in conflicts while they still got to supply these other nations, simultaneously? Major conflicts at that, you know. As the journal noted, the American military used a howitzer just last week to attack Iranian-backed groups in Syria. Yeah, so America can't retract from this war. It's going to constantly have, it's doors that's being closed, right behind. Just like when you open a certain door and you walk through it and that door is closed and you have no choice but to proceed forward. The same thing is taking place with America. America is going through so many doors and, through the administration, of course, the presidency, and really the elites. The elites are taking this place until the point of no return, and that's how we know when all else fails, they're going to have to turn this thing nuclear. They're going to have to really use everything that's in their ammunition departments, everything that's been manufactured, and some of the most heavily created and manufactured weapon is the thermonuclear missile. And these weapons are, when all else fails, and all else is failing, they're failing in all points. America's failing miserably, so they're going to have to take it nuclear with these enemy nations. Because you think these countries are going to allow themselves to be to succumb to the enemy when they have such a devastating weapon that can be an equalizer? They're going to take the initiative and push that button. And when they push that button, everybody's going to push that button. But guess what? The Most High is going to force their hand to push that button. All right, Isaiah 14:10. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. And the point of it is, become weak as we, because like it says in Isaiah, how Babylon has been a golden cup, which I could get to, that made all the earth drunken. They made people drink off their philosophy and the lies and the deception, of democracy. All right. And their wicked, perverse way of life. That's why they're being brought down to the grave, which is that lower state. All right. And the erosion, everything is eating this place up by and by. This place, they're trying to maintain these different roads. They're trying to maintain this SHIT whole country, but it's too much damage. All right. It's overly damaged. It's circling the drain. Just like when somebody's body is, has too much damage to it. If you have cancer and when all else fails, it gets to a certain point where it's at the end of no return. So it says, for thou hast said in thine heart, which is thy mind, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation and the sides to the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Yeah. So America has gloated itself in the victories of enemy nations and even nations that didn't even try to do them no harm. All right. That's why they actually take on these different, the Pledge of Allegiance, which is really, them a braggadocious salute, so to speak. They make everybody stand, and look, you got blacks, Latino nations that's already been conquered and put underfoot of this nation, being America, to do that, salutations, basically, But like the scripture says, that pomp is being brought to the grave. America is, at basically that it was once that country, but now it's losing its positioning, man. And these nations, they're calculators, man. They calculate all things, man. They look, they have analytics, They look at I'll say strong points, weak points of different nations. They see everything that's taking place. They read articles. They have journalists. These aren't just just Johnny come lately nations. These nations are older than America. These nations, have stood the test of time. A lot of these different nations came, fell, started new eras and new dynasties or whatnot. But nonetheless, they're tactical. They have they've won wars and quarrels and stuff like that. Like China. So they see everything that's going on over here. If we see it, us brothers that's in poverty in a low, of course we're here in America through the spirit, but us brothers that, through the flick of a finger can go to an article, go to Google and read these things. All these other nations could do the same thing. You see? So Jeremiah 51:7, and these nations seeing that, now what? They're salivating. They're hungry to get a taste of America, because America, like I said, has been going around the world being that great bully, destroying nations and setting up a perversive lifestyle, getting the people hooked on drugs, which is part of that perversion. It tells you in Revelation 18 how the sins reached unto heaven. Jeremiah 51:7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. All right, and you wonder why these nations are so vehemently angry with America. You have these politicians and you have these individuals that look at these nations like, yo, what the hell is wrong with them? We've been nothing but good to them. We've brought peace into their land. Nah, you came and brought destruction, man. You came, you tainted their lifestyle. You poisoned their food supply, their water supply, brought GMOs. And see, they look at that as bringing equality. All right, everybody can eat the same thing. Yeah, they're eating your poison. They can live the same way. Yeah, they're living a lifestyle that's anti to the lifestyle that they was living. It doesn't work in cohesion to how they had things set up for millenniums, man. Verse 8, Babylon is sudden fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. You see, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Yes, because the sin is reached unto the skies. I read that in Revelation 8. Well, I was quoting that in Revelation, the 18th chapter. So the judgment is going to reach to the heavens. The Most High sees all, knows all. And scripture speak about how he, in Proverbs 21, how he deals with the hearts of these different kings. So he's going to put a certain thought in the spirit of these kings to say, you know what? We're going to go to war with America. It's going to be one of these days where all hell breaks loose. All right. And everybody that's been playing games, that's been shucking and jiving, I'm like, oh, shit, we're going to war with China and Russia and Iran. Oh, shit, this is going to be World War III, So, that's what I wanted to really go into. Just going to the times that we're living in. America's losing its, like I said, ammunition, losing a lot of its power by distribution and stretching themselves too thin. So, hey, until the next episode. I want anybody giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat, Shemar, Kakodash. Double honor to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Shalom, Makim.